What is your past life according to Buddhism?
The mystery of existence. Have you ever stared at the night sky, overwhelmed by the vastness of the universe, and wondered, where was I before I was born? This is not just a passing curiosity. It is a question that has haunted humanity for millennia. Different cultures offer different explanations. Some believe in a divine creator, others in an eternal soul, and some, like Buddhism, take a completely different approach. In this expanded discussion, we will explore the Buddhist perspective on pre-birth existence, the cycle of rebirth, and how karma influences our journey. Along the way, we will weave in modern scientific insights, philosophical debates, and personal reflections that make this topic more relevant to our daily lives. Chapter 1. What were you before birth? The universal curiosity. From childhood, we wonder where we came from. We understand our birthplace and parents. But what about before that? Did we exist in some other form? Or were we simply nothing? While some religions propose a creator God who breathes life into existence, Buddhism rejects both the notion of an eternal soul and the idea that we emerge from nothingness. Instead, Buddhism speaks of a continuous flow of consciousness, bound by karma. This question is not just philosophical but deeply personal. If we existed before birth, what were we? If we did not, then what exactly gave rise to the person we are today? Buddhism invites us to move beyond simplistic answers and embrace a more profound, interconnected view of existence. The Buddhist perspective. Beyond the physical self. The Buddhist teachings emphasize that life is a cycle, not a linear journey with a definite beginning or end. He spoke of the endless wandering of beings, shaped by craving and ignorance. This idea challenges our conventional understanding of life and identity, but it also liberates us from fear, the fear of non-existence. In Buddhist thought, existence is compared to a river, always moving, yet continuously connected. You are not the same person you were 5 years ago, yet there is a continuity. Before birth, your consciousness existed, shaped by past actions. But what does this mean in practical terms? Buddhism rejects the concept of an independent, unchanging self. Instead, it proposes the doctrine of anatta, or no-self, which suggests that what we consider to be ourselves is simply a collection of ever-changing physical and mental processes. This directly contrasts with the belief in an eternal soul found in many religious traditions. The Buddha described this ongoing cycle of existence as samsara, a vast, beginningless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. This cycle is not random but governed by karma, the law of cause and effect. Every thought, word, and action leaves an imprint on our consciousness, shaping the conditions of our next existence. The nature of consciousness before birth. If consciousness did not begin with birth, how does it persist? Buddhist philosophy offers the concept of the mind stream, sata santana, a continuous flow of mental energy that carries tendencies, habits, and karmic imprints across lifetimes. Unlike the idea of a permanent soul, the mind stream is ever-changing, influenced by our actions and intentions. This idea can be compared to a candle flame lighting another candle. The new flame is not identical to the first, yet there is a causal connection. Similarly, our consciousness in this life is the result of past actions and mental formations, shaped by previous lifetimes. The Tibetan Buddhist tradition provides a more detailed explanation of the transition between lives. It describes the Bardo state, a liminal phase between death and rebirth where consciousness is highly sensitive and reactive to karmic influences. The conditions of one's next birth are largely determined by the mind's tendencies at the moment of death. which is why many Buddhist traditions emphasize mindfulness and meditation as crucial for preparing for the inevitable transition. Evidence from Buddhist texts and mystical insights. Buddhist scriptures are filled with references to past lives, not only of the Buddha himself but also of his disciples. In the Jataka tales, the Buddha recounts his numerous past existences as animals, kings, sages, and even celestial beings. These stories are not merely fables but teachings on karma and moral development. Moreover, during his night of enlightenment, the Buddha gained the ability to recall countless previous existences. He saw how beings are born according to their actions, and how they cycle through different realms of existence. This profound insight was one of the pivotal realizations that led him to formulate the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path, guiding beings toward liberation from this endless cycle. Beyond scriptural accounts, many contemporary Buddhist teachers, monks, and even lay practitioners report past life memories emerging during deep meditation. Some traditions, like Tibetan Buddhism, actively seek to identify tulkus, reincarnated spiritual masters, based on their past life memories and extraordinary abilities from an early age. Scientific and psychological perspectives. While mainstream science remains skeptical of reincarnation, research in fields like parapsychology and near-death studies has uncovered intriguing cases that align with Buddhist teachings on rebirth. Dr. Ian Stevenson, a psychiatrist at the University of Virginia, conducted decades of research documenting thousands of cases of children recalling past lives. Many of these children provided detailed accounts of names, locations, and events that were later verified as accurate. Some even bore birthmarks or phobias corresponding to injuries sustained in their alleged past lives. Although Western science often struggles to reconcile these findings with materialist paradigms, Buddhist thought offers a different perspective. Consciousness is not a product of the brain alone but an ongoing stream that transcends physical death. Some theories in quantum mechanics and consciousness studies even suggest that awareness may exist independently of the body, aligning with ancient Buddhist insights. Breaking free from the cycle. Understanding that we existed before birth, and will continue after death, changes how we approach life. If our present conditions are the result of past actions, then we hold the power to shape our future through mindful living and ethical choices. This is the essence of Buddhist practice. 1. Cultivating wisdom through deep contemplation of the nature of reality. 2. Developing compassion for all beings, recognizing that we have all been connected across lifetimes. 3. Practicing meditation to gain direct insight into the impermanent and interdependent nature of existence. Ultimately, Buddhism teaches that while rebirth may continue indefinitely, liberation, nirvana, is possible. By letting go of attachment, craving, and ignorance, one can transcend the cycle of samsara and attain true peace. Chapter 2. Evidence for past lives. The Buddha's own memories. On the night of his enlightenment, the Buddha attained profound insight into the nature of existence. One of his realizations was the ability to recall his past lives in extraordinary detail. He remembered not only isolated events but entire lifetimes, spanning across different realms of existence. He could recall names, families, emotions, and experiences stretching back over countless cycles of birth and rebirth. This was not merely an abstract vision or a fleeting dream. It was a direct realization that profoundly reshaped his understanding of samsara, the endless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. Through this knowledge, he saw the intricate web of karma, how actions from one life led to consequences in the next, binding beings to this continuous flow of existence. The Buddha's teachings often included references to his past lives, In the Jataka tales, he recounted many of these experiences, where he had been a king, a sage, an animal, and even celestial beings. These stories were not meant to be mere fables but teachings on moral causation, demonstrating how ethical actions shape the conditions of future rebirths. More significantly, the Buddha also had the ability to perceive the past lives of others. He described how beings are born into different circumstances depending on their karmic imprints, some experiencing fortunate conditions, while others endure suffering due to past misdeeds. This realization was instrumental in formulating the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path, guiding beings toward liberation from suffering. Modern-day cases. The children who remember. If reincarnation is real, shouldn't there be evidence? In fact, there is. Over the past several decades, researchers have meticulously documented cases of individuals, especially young children, who claim to remember past lives. One of the most prominent figures in this field was Dr. Ian Stevenson, a psychiatrist at the University of Virginia, who dedicated his career to studying past life memories in children. Over a span of 40 years, he investigated more than 2,500 cases from different cultures, focusing on children who provided specific details about their alleged previous identities. These children often recalled names, locations, professions, and even cause of death from a life they should have no knowledge of. In some cases, their accounts were verified, revealing striking similarities between their memories and historical records. Some children also exhibited unusual behaviors, such as phobias corresponding to their past life deaths or strong attachments to places they had never visited in their current life. Dr. Jim Tucker, Stevenson's successor, continued this research and applied rigorous scientific methodology to rule out potential explanations such as suggestion, fabrication, or coincidence. He discovered that many children, at very young ages, spontaneously recalled past life experiences without any external prompting. Notable cases include 1. The boy from India who recalled a past life as a teacher, providing precise details of his past family, house, and possessions, which were later verified. 2. The American child who remembered being a World War II pilot, knowing specific aircraft details and battle locations without any prior exposure to such information. 3. A Burmese girl who claimed to have been a man in her previous life, recalling the name of her past spouse and village, which were later confirmed. In many cases, these children lost their past life memories as they grew older, suggesting that early childhood may be a window of clarity before the mind becomes fully conditioned by its new identity. Skepticism and science. Despite the compelling nature of these accounts, mainstream science remains skeptical. Many scientists dismiss reincarnation as a cultural belief rather than a measurable phenomenon. Critics argue that children's memories could be the result of 1. Cultural conditioning, where children unconsciously absorb details from stories or religious teachings. 2. Parental influence, where parents unintentionally guide children's memories through leading questions. 3. Coincidence, where vague recollections happen to align with real historical events. However, researchers like Stevenson and Tucker have taken great care to eliminate these biases, conducting studies in societies that do not traditionally believe in reincarnation, and testing children before they could have been influenced by external factors. In some cases, these children described obscure details about their past lives that were later verified through records, making conventional explanations less plausible. Beyond childhood memories, other fields of study also offer intriguing insights. Near-death experiences, NDEs, where individuals report vivid visions of previous existences or meeting deceased relatives, have led some scientists to reconsider the nature of consciousness. Similarly, Studies on terminal lucidity, where dying individuals regain clarity and recall past experiences just before death, hint at the possibility that consciousness transcends the brain. Furthermore, emerging theories in quantum physics challenge the materialist view of consciousness. Some scientists speculate that the mind may not be solely a product of brain activity but instead function as a field of energy that can persist beyond physical death, aligning with Buddhist notions of the mind stream. Buddhist teachings on verifying past lives. In Buddhism, past life memories are not considered inherently important unless they contribute to one's spiritual progress. The Buddha himself warned against obsessing over past lives if it distracts from the path to liberation. However, many Buddhist traditions offer practices to gain insight into one's previous existences, including 1. Deep meditation, jhana practice. Advanced states of meditation can allow the practitioner to access memories stored deep within the consciousness. Many monks and meditation masters have reported glimpses of their past lives during intense practice. 2. Karmic traces, our habits, talents, and natural inclinations may hint at experiences from past lifetimes. For example, a person with an unexplained ability to play music may have been a musician in a previous life. 3. Dreams and visions. Some people experience spontaneous flashes of past life memories during dreams, which, if consistent and detailed, could indicate karmic imprints resurfacing. What does this mean for us? If past lives are real, then our current experiences are not random but part of a continuum of existence shaped by karma. This perspective fundamentally changes how we approach life. Instead of seeing suffering as meaningless misfortune, we begin to understand it as the result of causes we have created. And more importantly, recognize our ability to shape a better future through mindfulness, ethical conduct, and wisdom. Reincarnation, as described in Buddhism, is not about the survival of a fixed self, but rather the continuation of karmic energy. Understanding this can inspire us to live more consciously and compassionately, knowing that our actions today will ripple across lifetimes. Chapter 3. The Journey of Consciousness. How does consciousness continue? If past lives exist, how does something of us transition from one body to another? Buddhism answers this question with the concept of the mind stream, Sata Santana. Unlike the concept of an eternal, unchanging soul found in many religious traditions, this mind stream is a continuous flow of mental energy that carries the imprints of past experiences, intentions, and karmic consequences. This dynamic process is often compared to a river. It appears unified, yet it is constantly flowing and changing. The water in the river is never the same at any given moment, yet there is a continuity. In the same way, our consciousness is not a fixed identity but an ever-evolving process shaped by the causes and conditions of our actions. The law of dependent origination, pratitya-samuppada, explains how consciousness is neither an independent entity nor something that ceases entirely. It arises based on conditions, just as a flame from one candle can light another without being the exact same flame. Our mind stream is propelled by karma, creating new experiences and shaping future rebirths. This Buddhist understanding of consciousness challenges the materialist view that consciousness is merely a byproduct of the brain. While neuroscience often associates consciousness with neural activity, Buddhist philosophy suggests that awareness transcends physical form, persisting beyond the dissolution of the body. The death and rebirth process. Buddhist texts describe the stages of dying with great detail, particularly in Tibetan Buddhism, where the process is divided into different phases. As the body dissolves, the mind stream does not simply disappear but transitions into an intermediate state called the bardo. The Bardo Thodol, Tibetan Book of the Dead, offers a profound exploration of this transitional state, detailing the different experiences consciousness undergoes before rebirth. According to these teachings, the journey after death unfolds in three main phases. 1. The moment of death, Chikai Bardo, as physical functions cease. The elements of the body, earth, water, fire, air, and space, dissolve. The person experiences a gradual withdrawal from sensory perception. A deep, clear luminosity may arise, known as the Dharmakaya light, which represents the true nature of reality. Those with deep spiritual insight may recognize this and attain liberation. 2. The intermediate state, Choni Bardo. Consciousness enters a dream-like state where it encounters visions, sounds, and manifestations shaped by its past karma. These experiences can be blissful or terrifying, reflecting the mind's tendencies and attachments. The ability to navigate this phase mindfully can influence the next rebirth. 3. The rebirth phase, Sidpa Bardo. As the mind stream moves closer to its next incarnation, it is drawn toward a new existence based on karmic patterns. At this stage, habitual tendencies and unresolved desires play a key role in determining the conditions of the next life. In Buddhist thought, rebirth is not immediate but occurs based on karmic readiness. Some beings are reborn swiftly, while others remain in the intermediate state for extended periods before finding a suitable rebirth. The role of final thoughts. Buddhism teaches that a person's state of mind at the moment of death is crucial in shaping the trajectory of the mind stream's journey. Unlike many beliefs that view death as an absolute ending, Buddhism sees it as a continuation of mental momentum. If a person dies in fear, attachment, or confusion, their next birth might reflect that turmoil. They may be drawn toward conditions that mirror their unresolved emotions, leading to an existence filled with suffering or difficulty. Conversely, if a person dies in peace, mindfulness, and detachment, their next life is likely to be more favorable, as their consciousness will gravitate toward positive conditions. This is why deathbed mindfulness practices are deeply emphasized in Buddhist traditions. Practitioners train themselves to remain calm, aware, and unattached at the moment of death, ensuring a smoother transition into the next life. Monks and advanced meditators often prepare for this moment through practices such as 1. Phowa, consciousness transfer, a Tibetan Buddhist technique that directs the mind toward liberation at the moment of death. 2. Mantra recitation, chanting sacred words, such as the name of the Buddha, to create a positive mental state before passing. 3. Metta, loving kindness meditation, generating compassionate thoughts to reduce fear and cultivate a peaceful departure. Scientific and philosophical perspectives on consciousness. While mainstream science struggles to explain what happens to consciousness after death, there are intriguing scientific and philosophical insights that align with Buddhist perspectives. 1. Near-death experiences, NDEs. Many individuals report vivid experiences of consciousness outside their bodies during clinical death. These experiences often include visions of light, encounters with deceased relatives, and a sense of profound peace, mirroring descriptions found in Buddhist texts about the dying process. 2. Terminal lucidity. In some cases, individuals suffering from severe cognitive decline, such as dementia, suddenly regain complete mental clarity and awareness shortly before death. This phenomenon challenges the idea that consciousness is solely dependent on brain function, suggesting a deeper continuity of awareness. 3. Quantum theories of consciousness. Some scientists, such as Dr. Stuart Hameroff and Sir Roger Penrose, propose that consciousness may exist beyond the physical brain, operating within a fundamental quantum field. This idea echoes Buddhist views of consciousness as an interdependent, non-material process rather than a fixed entity. 4. Memories of past lives in children. Research by Dr. Ian Stevenson and Dr. Jim Tucker at the University of Virginia has documented thousands of cases where children recall specific details of past lives that were later verified. Some of these children exhibit knowledge, behaviors, and even birthmarks corresponding to past life injuries, further suggesting a continuity of consciousness. Implications for spiritual practice. Understanding the continuity of consciousness has profound implications for how we live. If our thoughts and actions persist beyond death, then every moment matters. This realization encourages us to 1. Cultivate positive karma through ethical actions, ensuring a favorable rebirth. 2. Practice meditation to refine our awareness and develop insight into the true nature of existence. 3. Let go of attachments to prepare for a peaceful transition at the moment of death. 4. Develop loving kindness, metta, to reduce fear and generate a compassionate mind stream. Buddhist philosophy teaches that while the journey of consciousness continues across lifetimes, ultimate liberation lies in transcending the cycle of birth and death. By following the eightfold path and deepening our understanding of the nature of mind, we can move toward true awakening and freedom from suffering. Chapter 4. Karma and Your Next Life. What is karma? Karma is one of the most misunderstood concepts in Buddhism. Many people mistakenly believe that karma is a form of divine retribution or fate. But Buddhism teaches that karma is simply the law of cause and effect, a natural, impersonal process that governs how actions shape experiences across lifetimes. Every thought, word, and action leaves an imprint on our consciousness. These imprints do not disappear but accumulate, influencing our present and future experiences. In Buddhist philosophy, karma is neither punishment nor reward but rather the unfolding of conditions based on previous causes. For example, 1. Acts of generosity led to experiences of abundance and happiness in future lives. 2. Acts of harm or deception create conditions for suffering and distrust. 3. Mindful actions cultivate clarity and wisdom, helping one progress on the path to enlightenment. The Buddha emphasized that karma operates not through divine judgment but through natural law, similar to how planting a seed leads to the growth of a tree. If one plants an apple seed, an apple tree will grow. If one plants a thorn bush will grow. The same principle applies to karma. Actions create conditions that unfold over time. However, karma is not instantaneous. Some karmic results manifest immediately in this life, while others ripen in future existences. Some may take multiple lifetimes to come to fruition, depending on the complexity of causes and conditions. How karma shapes rebirth. Karma plays a fundamental role in shaping the circumstances of one's rebirth. Buddhism teaches that rebirth is not random. The conditions into which a person is born are influenced by their past actions. This explains why people experience vastly different life conditions. 1. Someone born into wealth and privilege may have cultivated generosity and kindness in past lives. 2. Someone facing hardship, illness, or struggle may be working through the karmic consequences of past actions. 3. Someone born with natural wisdom or deep spiritual understanding may have practiced meditation and insight in previous lifetimes. However, karma does not function as strict determinism. While past actions influence the conditions of rebirth, they do not completely define a person's future. The present moment always holds new opportunities to generate positive karma and shape a different path forward. Karma also influences habitual tendencies carried across lifetimes. Some people seem to have an innate inclination toward compassion, patience, or mindfulness, while others may struggle with anger, greed, or fear. These tendencies are mental imprints from past experiences, shaping how one responds to the world in each new life. In some Buddhist traditions, 6 realms of existence are described as possible rebirth destinations, influenced by karma. 1. Heavenly realm, Deva realm, a realm of pleasure and joy, often resulting from a life of great virtue. 2. Human realm, a balanced existence where spiritual progress is possible. 3. Asura realm, demigods, a realm of power, jealousy, and conflict. 4. Animal realm, a state of ignorance, driven by instinct and survival. 5. Hungry ghost realm, Preta, a realm of deep craving and unsatisfied desires. 6. Hell realm, a state of intense suffering caused by extreme negative karma. These realms are not permanent but temporary states shaped by past actions. A person who accumulates positive karma may rise to higher realms, while negative karma can lead to rebirth in lower realms. However, only in the human realm is true spiritual progress possible, making human rebirth precious and rare. Breaking free from karma. Karma is not destiny. While past actions shape present conditions, one is never trapped by karma. Buddhism teaches that with mindfulness, ethical living, and wisdom, individuals can shift their karmic trajectory, leading to better future lives or even liberation from the cycle of rebirth altogether. How to transform karma in this life. 1. Cultivating awareness, mindfulness, sati, by being present and conscious of our thoughts, words, and actions, we can prevent the continuation of negative karmic patterns. Mindfulness allows us to pause before reacting, creating the space to make wiser choices. 2. Practicing ethical conduct, sila, following the 5 precepts, abstaining from killing, stealing, lying, sexual misconduct, and intoxicants, helps generate positive karma and avoids future suffering. 3. Developing generosity, dana, acts of kindness and giving create good karmic seeds, leading to abundance and peace in future existences. 4. Meditation and wisdom, panya, insight meditation, vipassana, allows one to see the nature of karma and reality clearly, leading to inner liberation. 5. Letting go of attachment. Much suffering is caused by clinging to desires and fears. By cultivating detachment and equanimity, one can neutralize negative karmic imprints. The path to ultimate liberation. The ultimate goal in Buddhism is to go beyond karma and attain nirvana, the state of complete liberation from samsara, the cycle of birth and death. Nirvana is not a place but a state of being, where the fires of craving, hatred, and ignorance are completely extinguished. To transcend karma entirely, one must 1. Follow the eightfold path, right view, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. 2. Develop deep meditation and insight into the nature of reality. 3. Realize the truth of no-self, anatta, understanding that there is no fixed I to carry karma forward. Enlightened beings, such as the Buddha, have broken free from karma by realizing the true nature of existence. Their actions are no longer driven by self-interest or attachment, but by pure compassion and wisdom. Final reflections. The law of karma teaches us that every moment matters. We are not victims of fate but active participants in shaping our own future, both in this life and beyond. By making conscious, ethical choices now, we create positive ripples that extend into our next existence, leading us toward greater wisdom, peace, and ultimately, liberation. Chapter 5. The No-Self Paradox. Who is reborn if there is no soul? Buddhism teaches anatta, the doctrine of no permanent self. Unlike many religious traditions that believe in an eternal, unchanging soul that persists after death, Buddhism asserts that what we call the self is merely a collection of ever-changing physical and mental processes. This raises an interesting paradox. 1. If there is no fixed self, then what carries over from one life to the next? 2. How can rebirth occur if there is no enduring identity? The answer lies in understanding continuity without fixed identity. Just as a river appears to be a single entity while its waters constantly change, consciousness flows from one moment to the next without a permanent core. This is where the Buddhist concept of the mind stream, Sata Santana, comes in. Unlike the idea of a soul, the mind stream is a dynamic flow of mental energy shaped by karma. Each thought, intention, and action leaves an imprint, influencing future experiences, both in this life and beyond. A useful analogy is a flame lighting another candle. 1. The second flame is not the same as the first, yet it arises because of it. 2. Similarly, our next life is not a continuation of a fixed self, but a new emergence shaped by past causes and conditions. This idea challenges the common notion of personal identity, but it also offers freedom. If there is no fixed self, we are not bound by past mistakes or unchangeable destinies. Instead, we are fluid, evolving beings, continuously shaped by our actions and intentions. The Ship of Theseus thought experiment. The Buddhist view of no-self can be understood through a classic philosophical analogy. Imagine a ship where, over time, every single plank is replaced. At what point does it stop being the original ship? If none of its original parts remain, is it still the same ship? Similarly, our bodies, thoughts, and emotions change constantly. The cells in our body regenerate, our memories shift, and our personality evolves. The person you were 10 years ago is vastly different from who you are today, yet there is still a sense of continuity. This is precisely how rebirth works. 1. It is not about a soul moving from one body to another. 2. It is about the unfolding of cause and effect, where past actions influence future conditions. 3. The illusion of a stable self is merely the result of habit and attachment, not an actual reality. Buddhist meditation helps practitioners see through this illusion. When deeply observing thoughts and sensations, one realizes that nothing stays the same. Everything arises and passes away. The more one understands this, the less one clings to identity, leading to greater freedom and peace. Practical implications of no-self. The concept of anatta is not just a philosophical debate. It has profound implications for how we live. 1. Letting go of attachment. If there is no permanent self, why hold on to ego, grudges, or fears? By recognizing that we are constantly changing, we can embrace life with more fluidity and openness. 2. Reducing fear of death. Understanding rebirth as a flow of causes and conditions rather than a soul's journey allows us to approach death with less fear and more peace. 3. Breaking free from negative patterns. If we are not fixed beings, we can change. We are not our past mistakes, and we are not trapped by old habits. 4. Cultivating compassion. Recognizing that everyone is also a temporary, ever-changing process helps us see beyond labels and develop deeper empathy for others. In the end, The realization of no-self leads not to nihilism, but to liberation. When we let go of the illusion of a permanent identity, we become more present, less attached, and more in harmony with the true nature of existence. Chapter 6. Science Meets Ancient Wisdom. Neuroscience and Consciousness. Modern neuroscience has made significant progress in understanding how the brain functions. But it continues to struggle with one of the biggest mysteries of existence. What is consciousness? Consciousness is often described as the subjective experience of being aware, while many scientific theories propose that consciousness arises from neural activity in the brain. No definitive explanation has been found for why or how subjective awareness emerges from purely biological processes. Some researchers argue that consciousness is not confined to the brain, which aligns with Buddhist thought. Buddhism teaches that mind and awareness exist beyond physical matter and that consciousness is a stream rather than a fixed entity. This challenges the materialist view that mind and consciousness are merely byproducts of the brain. One of the most intriguing scientific phenomena supporting this perspective is terminal lucidity, a phenomenon where individuals with severe brain damage or advanced dementia suddenly regain full clarity and awareness just before death. If consciousness were solely dependent on the brain, such recoveries should be impossible. These cases suggest that awareness may persist beyond the physical structure of the brain, supporting Buddhist notions of mind stream continuity beyond death. In addition, studies on near-death experiences, NDEs, report instances where individuals, despite clinically flatlining with no brain activity, recall vivid experiences of awareness, out-of-body perception, and encounters with a realm beyond the physical world. While science has yet to explain these occurrences fully, Buddhism offers an alternative framework. Consciousness is not limited to the body but exists in a more subtle form, capable of transcending the material world. Meditation and brain studies. Buddhism has long taught that the mind is not a fixed entity but can be refined, expanded, and transformed through training. Modern science has now begun to confirm these teachings, particularly in the field of neuroscience and meditation research. Studies on long-term meditators, including Tibetan monks and mindfulness practitioners, have revealed significant structural and functional changes in the brain. Researchers using fMRI, functional magnetic resonance imaging, and EEG scans have found 1. Increased gray matter density. Long-term meditation strengthens areas of the brain associated with emotional regulation, memory, and compassion, such as the prefrontal cortex and hippocampus. 2. Enhanced neural connectivity. Meditation improves communication between brain regions, leading to greater cognitive clarity and self-awareness. 3. Reduced activity in the default mode network, DMN. The DMN is associated with mind-wandering and self-referential thoughts, the constant, ego chatter, in the mind. Meditation quiets this network, leading to greater focus and inner peace. 4. Thicker cortical regions. Meditators have been found to have a thicker cortex, which is linked to slower brain aging and better cognitive function. One of the most groundbreaking discoveries is that meditation changes the brain at a genetic level. Research has shown that meditation can alter gene expression, particularly in genes linked to stress reduction and inflammation control. This provides a scientific basis for how Buddhist practices like mindfulness, loving-kindness meditation, metta, and vipassana directly impact physical and mental well-being. Additionally, studies on gamma brainwaves in advanced meditators have shown that individuals who practice deep meditation can generate high levels of synchronized brain activity, associated with states of compassion, heightened awareness, and deep insight. This aligns with Buddhist teachings that meditation refines and expands consciousness, allowing one to cultivate higher states of awareness beyond ordinary perception. quantum physics and the Buddhist view of reality. Beyond neuroscience, quantum physics has also uncovered ideas that resonate with Buddhist philosophy. Some physicists suggest that consciousness plays a fundamental role in shaping reality, echoing Buddhist teachings on the interdependent nature of existence. 1. The observer effect. Experiments in quantum mechanics have shown that particles behave differently when observed, implying that consciousness itself may influence physical reality. This idea aligns with Buddhist teachings that reality is shaped by perception and mental conditioning. 2. Non-duality and emptiness. Quantum physics suggests that subatomic particles do not have inherent existence until they are measured. This is strikingly similar to the Buddhist doctrine of sunyata, emptiness, which states that phenomena do not have independent existence but arise due to conditions and interdependence. 3. The illusion of time. Some physicists propose that time is an illusion and that past, present, and future coexist simultaneously. This echoes Buddhist views that linear time is a mental construct and that all phenomena exist within an interdependent flow. While these ideas do not definitively prove Buddhist teachings, they suggest that modern science and ancient wisdom may be converging, offering new perspectives on the nature of consciousness and reality. Implications for spiritual growth. The meeting of science and Buddhist wisdom provides profound insights into human potential and spiritual growth. 1. Consciousness can be cultivated. Since the brain is malleable, our awareness can be refined through meditation, mindfulness, and ethical living. 2. Mindfulness strengthens mental and emotional well-being. Scientific studies validate Buddhist teachings that a calm, disciplined mind leads to greater happiness and resilience. 3. Consciousness may transcend the physical body. Evidence from near-death experiences, terminal lucidity, and quantum physics suggests that awareness may not be confined to the brain, aligning with Buddhist teachings on rebirth and the mind stream. 4. Interconnectedness is a scientific reality. Both Buddhist philosophy and quantum physics point to the fundamental interconnected nature of all things, challenging the illusion of separateness and reinforcing the importance of compassion and ethical responsibility. Chapter 7. Living with the knowledge of past lives. How understanding rebirth changes our perspective. Recognizing the possibility of past and future lives profoundly shifts how we approach life's challenges. Instead of perceiving suffering as random misfortune or punishment, we begin to see it as part of a larger karmic cycle, a continuation of causes and conditions from previous existences. Understanding rebirth teaches us that 1. Difficulties in life are not meaningless but opportunities for spiritual growth and karmic resolution. 2. Patterns of behavior and emotions may stem from past life tendencies, guiding us toward deeper self-awareness. 3. Every action we take matters, as it shapes both this life and future existences. This realization fosters greater patience, resilience, and responsibility, encouraging us to actively transform our karma rather than passively accepting circumstances. Instead of reacting with frustration or despair, we learn to cultivate wisdom, compassion, and mindful action in response to life's challenges. Practical steps to work with karma. 1. Mindful living, cultivating good intentions and actions. Since karma is the natural law of cause and effect, being mindful of our thoughts, words, and deeds is essential. By practicing right speech, avoiding gossip, lies, or harmful words. Right action, acting ethically and responsibly. Right livelihood, choosing a profession that does not harm others. We ensure that our present actions plant the seeds for a better future, in this life and the next. 2. Meditation, deepening awareness of the mind's patterns. Meditation is one of the most powerful tools for understanding karma and recognizing past life influences. Through deep contemplation and mindfulness, we begin to observe repeated thought patterns and emotional tendencies that may stem from past existences. Let go of attachments and unresolved karmic baggage by cultivating inner peace and clarity. Strengthen mental discipline, ensuring that present choices are guided by wisdom rather than impulsive reactions. Long-term meditation practitioners often report glimpses of past lives or deep insights into the causes of their present experiences, further reinforcing the interconnected nature of existence. 3. Compassion, recognizing our interconnectedness across lifetimes. When we accept that we have been reborn countless times, we begin to see all beings as connected. This realization fosters greater empathy. Those who have wronged us may have been our loved ones in a previous life. Forgiveness and patience, instead of holding grudges, we see others' actions as conditioned by their own karmic struggles. Universal kindness. If we have been born into different circumstances in different lifetimes, why judge others based on temporary roles and identities? By embracing this perspective, our relationships transform, becoming more harmonious and compassionate. 4. Self-reflection. Identifying lessons from past experiences. Recurring challenges, fears, and relationships often carry hidden karmic lessons. By reflecting deeply, we can recognize patterns of behavior that repeat across different situations. Work on unresolved karma, whether through patience, generosity, or wisdom. Approach difficulties as opportunities for spiritual evolution, rather than burdens to escape. For example, if someone repeatedly faces betrayal or loss, it may be an invitation to develop trust, non-attachment, or inner strength. Lessons that, once learned, may free them from repeating the same karmic cycle in future lives. Conclusion. The journey continues. Buddhism offers a profound and transformative understanding of existence, one that extends beyond the limits of birth and death. Rather than viewing life as a singular event with a defined beginning and end, Buddhist wisdom teaches that existence is an interwoven continuum, shaped by karma, mindfulness, and personal growth. By embracing these teachings, we develop a greater sense of purpose, realizing that our thoughts, words, and actions carry meaning beyond this lifetime. This understanding allows us to reduce fear of death by recognizing that consciousness is not destroyed, but continues to evolve. Live with greater responsibility, knowing that our present actions influence our future experiences. Cultivate compassion, understanding that all beings share this journey across countless lifetimes. Even if one does not fully embrace the idea of rebirth, the Buddhist approach provides a meaningful framework for navigating life with wisdom and mindfulness. It teaches us to be present, ethical, and aware, allowing us to break free from suffering and live with deeper fulfillment. So, who were you before you were born? Perhaps the answer lies not in a single past identity, but in the timeless flow of consciousness, a journey that continues with every moment of awareness you cultivate today.